Hey Internet, it's Dave here. I'm just about to film my first GoPro YouTube video before going on my big trip, and thought I'd try it out first by doing a video showing all of the modifications and things I've done to my 2021 Royal Enfield Himalayan. So jump right in, start at the front, work our way back. The first thing I've done here on the Himalayan is adding on these front fender risers. These little carbon fiber fender risers lift the fender up by about half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, to allow more mud and clearance around the tire when going off-road. They're from Enfield Accessories. Another one I've done here is on the tire on the valve stems. I always put on these Slime brand valve stem covers, and they have stem removers built in. I always carry a stem remover in my toolbox, but it never hurts to have an extra stem remover, and they don't weigh very much or cost very much. I've got new tires on to just put on last week. These are Mitas EO7 Pluses. They're a little chunkier and more knobby than the stock tires, and you can see they're brand new. The rear, let's give you a look at the rear tread pattern. See, it's quite a bit blockier, and still good for the road as well, so I'll let you know how those work out as the trip goes along. Back to the front, I've got this headlight cover for rock protection and such. This is from Enfield Accessories as well. In the headlight, it's tough to see, but I've got a Cyclops brand high power LED headlight. This is much brighter than stock, and it also uses quite a bit less energy, so when you have accessories and that plugged in, it doesn't no strain on the battery. Next along here, we've got turn signals. These turn signals are LED with smoked out plastic covers. I'll show you on the back. Same signals. These are LED as well, so use less power. When you switch over from incandescent to LED turn signals, you need to put ballasts in line to balance the electrical load. So I've got 2 Oxford ballasts in line for the signal. These signals are from DRC. Next up here, got this Royal Enfield GPS mount from Enfield Accessories as well. This mount mounts to where the headlight or windscreen mounts in to the bike. It vibrates a little bit, so I put in just some rubber stoppers here to dampen the vibrations, and it's got a built-in USB power pack here for 2 USB plugs, which is wired into the battery and keyed, so the power's on when the bike's on. This mount has a carbon fiber tube across here, and on the tube I've got currently mounted on my Garmin Zumo XT GPS mount. It has a ram style mount that can be adjusted, and the GPS just clips on, and it has a power supply wired into the battery, so the GPS is always charged and powered, and a little rain cover goes in there when it's not being used with the GPS. Next up, I have from the outside here Barkbuster hand guards with the aluminum frame that goes all the way around to protect from rocks and trees and such. On these you can get a choice of covers. These are the storm covers, which are the largest of the covers, more cover for rain and sticks, and you can see they've been well used already. In from that, I've got the Oxford heated grips. The Oxford grips are wired into the battery and have 5 levels of heat setting. On 100% they're very warm. You wouldn't want to use 100% on bare hands. These have something called the intelligent heat controller, and it monitors the battery level, so when you turn the ignition off at the gas station or whatever, the grips will still stay on and stay heated, so they don't cool down when you're off for a short period of time. But if you forget to turn them off when you're done for the day, it'll go into what's called battery saving mode, and as soon as the battery gets down to about 12.6 volts, they'll shut the whole thing right off. These grips are one on either side. Next up are the double take mirrors. The double take mirrors are mounted onto balls where the regular mirrors would go, only they have these ram style adjustment points. I like these mirrors because they're adjustable in many more ways, but they're nice. You can get them down nice and wide or put them up nice and high, flip them in really easily if you're in the bushes, or adjust them for standing a lot easier. And if you hit something, they just fold away and you can easily adjust them back. I have the ram style security nut on here that uses a little key to adjust. I only put these on because I have them and they're easy to put on. Next up is the quad lock phone mount with vibration dampening attachment. The quad lock is for your phone. It just snaps on very easy and it's very solid, can't come off. It wiggles around because of the vibration dampener, but you can take your phone off very easy and snap it on very easy if you want to take a picture or something. Coming around the other side, we've got the Atlas throttle lock. The Royal Enfield doesn't have any fancy bells and whistles, no cruise control, but it's nice on a long ride to be able to take your hand off the throttle once in a while. So this throttle lock, simply you move the throttle to whatever position, hit the button, and it will hold the throttle in position. With the Royal Enfield, generally on the highway, full blast, you have it pinned all the time anyway, so it works well for that. And just press a button to snap it off. The nice thing about this is it uses friction plates to hold it, so when it's on, you can override it very easily and adjust it anytime you like, and then just press the button to go off. Next up are levers. These levers are from Warp 9. They're just smaller and adjustable levers. They adjust with the nut here. These levers I like better than the stock levers because they're a little bit shorter and more adjustable. They've worked out pretty well. Next up along here as we go, I've got the yoke for my Moscow Moto Nomax tank bag, which I'll show in some other video. It clips in up here, and it clips on either side of the bike with these straps down below, which are permanently attached. Up front on the rack, got another ram mount. This ram mount's where I'll attach the GoPro sometimes. I have a GoPro attachment that goes on here. I also have a coffee cup attachment on a gimbal, which you can use, but I don't use that very often. You could. Next are these Tusk fender tool bags. These bags are originally meant to go on the fender of dirt bikes and such for tools. These straps are meant to clip onto the fender. I've got them mounted onto these steel racks that the Enfield has. And the way I mounted these, I have the straps on there, but the actual mounting is done by a steel plate, which you can see in here. That's bolted into the rack. The steel plate here is laminated through the bag and bolted on securely, so it's not ever going to fall off. It's very solid. In here I keep tubes. On one side's the tube for the rear tire, and the other side's the tube for the front tire. On the side with the front tire tube, I also have a tire change mat, which is about a 1 meter square sort of tarp you can put on the ground when you're changing your tires in the mud. These bags also come with tire levers in each bag. There's 2 tire levers in each bag, which seems like a lot of tire levers, but I'll show sometime when I'm showing my tools. I keep them in there because they weigh almost nothing, and they would be useful as a splint for ever a broken frame or something. There's one of these on each side. The other one's over on this side. Next up, I have the GV engine guards. These engine guards are, I think, one of the best ones out there for the Himalayan, because they have a 3-point mount, mounting to the frame at the bottom, up by the engine mount up here, and then this mounting point goes all the way through the frame with a tube that goes straight to the other side. So there's a direct connection from this engine frame guard to the other one on the other side. They also come with this mounting strap area where you can strap something on, but I don't have anything strapped in there. Next up is the oil cooler guard. The Himalayan is an air-cooled 411cc engine, but there is a small oil cooler to help with the cooling. And stock, there comes with a little steel guard frame on there that It's not bad, but this one's a lot beefier and more protective and looks a little nicer, I think. Okay, next up, on these side covers, on this model year, there's no embossed name for the Himalayan, and I had taken these off and painted them and tried a few things and did a really terrible job of putting this plastic coat on here. So Hitchcock Accessories sells these sticker kits, and so I just stuck it on there to cover up my bad paint job. Next on this side is this automatic chain oiler. This one's by Tutoro. It's got the aluminum cover on it. This portion here is the reservoir that holds the chain oil, and there's a adjusting knob here. The way this chain oiler works is there's a weight in the top here, a metal weight that vibrates up and down when the bike is moving or going on the road, and that movement opens up the valve just a tiny bit, which allows oil to slowly trickle down this tube all the way along, and the tube eventually comes around to the rear sprocket and just drips out a tiny amount of oil right onto your rear sprocket. It's very adjustable and it's worked out excellent so far. Okay, moving on up to the seat. The Royal Enfield Himalayan is notorious for having a seat that's a little bit too soft. This is the rear pillion seat, which is, you can see, is pretty squishy, nice and comfortable, but it's too soft for long term. So I got this kit by a company called Seat Concepts. You can see the tag here. This kit is a upholstery kit. You take off the old cover and foam off the old seat and use the original seat pan, and then apply the new foam and the new seat cover, and then wrap it around and staple it into the seat pan. It's a little wider, it's much firmer, and it has a proprietary two-stage foam. It's a really comfortable seat. It's probably one of the best seats I've ever had on a bike. I really like it, and it's nice and grippy for when you're off-road. Next up, I have the pannier mounts from Royal Enfield. These are just the stock ones you can buy from Royal Enfield. They're pretty good and strong and beefy. They mount with this cross brace that goes across the back here over to the other side, and they're meant to take the Royal Enfield aluminum panniers, or you can mount any other system on there. I have on mine mounted the Moscow Moto attachment plates for the backcountry 25 or backcountry 35 bags. I leave these plates on all the time. They're mounted on very solid. They use a tapered plate, and the bags just slide down and lock into place on these plates. And I'll show those some other time when I'm showing my camping gear and such. I have these tool tubes. You can see one on this side here, in behind the pannier rack. Come around a little bit and you can see on the top. This tool tube, I put a loop with a cable lock that runs through so it can't be unscrewed, so nobody can take my tools. And these cable locks, I just have a whole bunch of them, and they're all keyed alike. They're all the same key. You can use them for all kinds of things around the bike. They'd be easy to defeat, but it'll just slow somebody down. This side, same thing, same sort of tool tube, mounted slightly differently because of the exhaust. On this side I keep a MSR fuel bottle, which fits perfectly snugly into the tube. And on this side I keep my tool wrap with all my main tools in there. After that, this box up here under the rack is a GV toolbox. These toolboxes are completely watertight and very strong and very secure way to hold extra tools. These ones are meant originally to be mounted inside of a pannier rack. On my old Triumph Tiger, that's where I had it mounted. But on this one, because I put the tool tubes in, I had to find a new spot. And so what I did is I made some rails. I fabricated up some rails that run from the pannier mount up to under the seat, and that's where this is bolted on solid. When doing that, I replaced the rear brake light, moved it out to the back here, mounted on there as well, and then took some additional steel bars and ran up a support for the rear subframe for the box up top. I don't carry much weight on the top here, but when you're going off-road, you can see some foam rubber in here as dampeners to keep this solid, so that just extra support. And at some point I'll show some tools that I keep in here. I keep mostly like my air compressor and and small tools and zip ties and things in there. Moving along to the top box, which is obviously a Pelican case. This Pelican case is mounted on an aluminum plate, which you can see here. This aluminum plate is by a company called Background Equipment. Here's their sticker. This plate is meant to be mounted onto the rear frame of a bike, and it has these pucks which allow the case to be dropped in and slid back, and then it locks into place using this locking mechanism here. It's totally solid. I've never had any problems with it coming off. And then to lock it, I just added on a marine grade stainless steel hasp, so I can just unlock this hasp and then pop it off and then pop the whole box off if I want. It's worked out really well so far. It's a great option for mounting your own box. I already had one of these Pelican cases. This one's a 1550 Pelican case, and it's just a great way to keep things that are totally watertight and secure, easily lockable. Mostly I just keep straps and extra riding gear in there and leave it empty on trips in case I have to get groceries or whatnot. Once I filled it full of ice, and it just stayed full of water, and it made a nice sink at camp. On the back here, there's another GoPro mount for the GoPro buckle clip, and this will just be another sort of unique view for mounting the GoPro. We're mounting it backwards. Coming around to this other side of the bike, on the exhaust, on the heat shields, on the exhaust there and here, stock, these are just steel, brushed steel. I have a powder coating set up, so I just powder coated them. I think they look better in black. It's just my own choice. Also here, I have a rear heel for the rear master cylinder, a heel guard. It's really easy on these when you're standing with your boots to kick the rear master cylinder for the rear brakes. So these guards are pretty handy and super easy to put on and very strong. Next up, I think one of the last things is this tube here, as you can see, which I just made. I only put this tube on here when I'm traveling in the backcountry where there might be bears. Just for places where you might need bear spray. I'm sort of more afraid of the bear spray blowing up if I ever drop the bike than I am of any bears. So I wanted a place to keep bear spray while riding that is well protected and waterproof and secure. So it's strapped on with these hose clamps in a PVC tube, just like a standard sewer type tube, and it just opens like that. I keep the bear spray in a rag just to keep it from vibrating around, and I can pull it out if I'm at camp or if I think I might need it out, or just leave it in this case. If I'm going to have a case on here, I figured I might as well make some use of the space and wrapped Gorilla Tape around both ends. There's about 10 meters of Gorilla Tape in total wrapped around there, just as extra tape, because you never know when you need more Gorilla Tape or duct tape. And then on here I've also wrapped around some paracord, just in a neat and tidy way of putting paracord on here. But this isn't just regular paracord, this is something called Survivor cord. I recommend you look it up. It's like paracord. It has a 600-pound load rating, but inside the strands there's also a copper wire which can be used for snares or for electrical wiring if you needed to, fishing line, and jute cord, which is a waxy cord that can be used as tinder for starting a fire. So if you're ever stuck anywhere, if you're gonna have paracord anyway, why not have stuff that has extra survival gear in it? What else? Oh, one other thing I missed here. I have an SAE power supply, just comes off the battery. I can either leave it tucked in or out, and when I'm at home I plug in my battery tender. I leave the battery tender on here all the time. On the road you can plug in an electric vest if you want, or my air compressor plugs into here, powered off the battery. There's all kinds of things you can have to plug into these power supplies. That's pretty much it, I think. So yeah, I'll post some more videos when I'm on the trip, and talk to you later.